Good afternoon. My name is Sister Jeanne Shary. I am a Dominican sister of Sparkill, and I would like to welcome you to How Do We Open Our Hearts to the World, a Catholic Sisters Week discussion hosted by the Blauvelt and Sparkill Dominican Sisters. Discussion will focus on how we can open our hearts to the world, find common ground with others, as well as how Pope Francis's Fratelli Tutti can help us build a culture of peace and dialogue as one human family. Our panelists for today include Sister Barbara McEneany of the Sisters of St. Dominic of Blauvelt, who is the Director of Campus Ministry at Dominican College, and Sister Carol Lehmkuhl of the Dominican Sisters of Sparkill, who is the Director of the East Side Heart and Home Family Center, located in East St. Louis. Welcome to Sisters Barbara and Carol. Thank you for joining us today, and happy Catholic Sisters Week. First question for both of you, and I'll let Sister Barbara answer first. What does it mean to you to open your heart to the world?
Thank you, Sister Jeanne. For me, in particular, as a college campus minister, the biggest thing I believe we need to do everywhere, but particularly for my own ministry, is to be present, to immerse yourself in all areas for people, with people, meet people, be involved in events, whether they cause pain or joy. Be present. I think that is so important. And have opportunities for students that will gather different populations on the campus. I remember I'll just share this, it's quite comical now, but 33 years ago, I began in campus ministry, and I had been a teacher for probably 25 years before I came. So I always had students in front of me. So the very first day in August, when we had our first class, fall semester, I didn't know what to do because I always had a class in front of me. And I thought, well, God, please help me. No one knew me. I didn't really know the students. So I walked up and down outside my office here, and I just said, oh God, please send me just a little crisis. With that, immediately, a little freshman run out of class, and she said, I can't do macroeconomics. I can't. I said, oh, I was like, yes, I have someone I can deal with. But you know what? That taught me to get out there, get in the halls, get in on the campus, go to the soccer field. You have to put yourself where the students are, not only to say hello to them, and that was a great goal, or to comfort the little one that was upset, but also to start to form a relationship. And when they're happy, they have so much fun with you, as you can imagine, the college age. But once there's a relationship, they're right into you when grandma's sick, or someone needs prayer, or their best friend has a problem with someone sick in the family. And I think that is so key for me. And some of the opportunities for students, I think, would be prayer, services at Mass, busy persons retreat, places where not everyone goes, campus ministry club, times for meditation and centering. And then other things that they love would be volunteer work. Relay for Life is coming up, and they're great at figuring out what they're going to do, how to fundraise for that. We have a Big Brother, Big Sister mentoring program that I host really at Dominican. These kinds of things gather different populations. And in doing that, I think that we very much start relationships that grow, and they last for the whole 4 years. So, and also interacting with faculty and staff. I remember my first week here, I remember a priest who was a campus minister at another campus said, remember, Barbara, all the people, even the security guards, the people that do other work, cooks, and they're all part of your kind of parish, your campus. And I said that day I met a gentleman on the parking lot, and I just remembered that. And I said, how are you? He said, oh, sister. And he was really not part of our public safety Dominican. He was an outsider. He said, sister, my wife is dying. At that moment, I knew that the priest who gave me that advice, yes, it's not just undergraduate students. We all are part of a community of people who are trying to get together and journey together. So interacting with faculty, staff, and all sorts of people has really warmed my heart, and that's the only reason I'm still here so long. It's just wonderful, the wonderful people. So that's one of the ways I open my heart to the world at Dominican.
Okay, thank you. And Sister Carol, how will you answer that question? What does it mean to you to open your heart to the world?
It kind of follows what Barbara was saying, but I think it's the step that I feel is important is something that I wrote a quote down that I feel is appropriate for this conversation. It's a quote by a Native American elder who I'm sure many of you are familiar with this quote. It goes like this: "There is a river flowing now very fast. It is so great and swift that there are those who will be afraid. They will try to hold on to the shore. They will feel that they are being torn apart and will suffer greatly. No, the river has its destination. The elders say we must let go of the shore and push off into the middle of the river. We must keep our eyes open and our heads above water. And I say, see who is in there with you and celebrate. At this time in history, we are to take nothing personally, least of all ourselves. For the moment that we do, our spiritual growth and journey comes to a halt. The time for the lone wolf is over. Gather yourselves, banish the word struggle from your vocabulary. All that we do now must be done in a sacred manner and in celebration, for we are the ones who we have been waiting for." In other words, and this was quoted many, many years ago, but it's very appropriate for today, especially after the pandemic. We need to be confident, we need to act, we need to put ourselves out there to be vulnerable. We can't wait for somebody else to take the first step of healing our world. We are the ones that we have been waiting for. And if we wish to see a change in the world, we need to start that change ourselves. That's my 2 cents.
Wow, that's more than 2 cents. That's great. Thank you, Sister Carol. The second question goes to Sister Carol first. In your ministry, how do you help individuals with diverse backgrounds find common ground?
For the last, I'm sorry, were you going to say something else, Jeanne, or did I interrupt you?
No.
For the last 28 years of my life, my ministry has been in a city by the name of East St. Louis, Illinois. People do not know too much about that city. Some think it's in Missouri. Other people have never heard of it. Other people have heard of it but don't want to hear about it. It was the subject of a movie by Chevy Chase. I think it was some kind of a vacation movie where he was traveling from Chicago to the West Coast and stopped in East St. Louis. And the moment he stopped, there were about 4 guys that came out of the woodwork and stole his tires. And so that's the kind of the story of East St. Louis and how it's portrayed by the rest of the world. There was a second, I think before we came on air here, we were talking about Saturday Night Live. And there was a skit on Saturday Night Live several years ago where the city was described as a hellhole. And many, many people have that opinion of East St. Louis. One of the things we try to do in our program is to help people understand that indeed there's poverty, indeed in places there's lack of morals, but there's also lack of jobs and opportunity. On the other hand, for the last 28 years, I have been so inspired by women and men who are very, very good, honest, hardworking people who have tried to, in their best way, to try to make their families understand what morality is, who have tried to get opportunity for their families to move out of poverty. And our mission has been here at the Eastside Heart and Home Family Center to try to connect our good people, our people who have all kinds of gifts and who have inspired us who have been working there, connected with people outside our communities to try to help them understand that the poverty is the thing that's the problem, it's not the people. And if you can just connect with those people, you'll find that they have all kinds of things to give you as the people outside of our region can give our people. So that's our connection. The Mississippi River is a big divider, and we keep trying to erase that thing, but we can't. So we try to offer programs which connects people together.
Thank you. Sister Barbara, same question. How do you help individuals with diverse backgrounds find common ground?
Well, Jeanne, I think, as you can imagine, on a college campus, the one thing at that age especially that brings college students together is volunteer and service. Also fundraisers for a needy cause. So I find that regardless of race, creed, or religious persuasion, people gather to make a difference where help and compassion is needed. Just look at the frontline workers during the height of the pandemic. Phenomenal love and support one for the other, and those who were supporting the ones that were frontline. I was just thinking last Thursday, we had a commissioning service for 25 of our students going to Camden, New Jersey to the Romero Center to do service work. Just because we can't go for a week this year because we don't have an alternative spring break because of the pandemic, they said, no, let's not let that go. Let's go Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so we had a commissioning service. And that in itself was so beautiful, where we blessed them, anointed them, and pinned them with a spirit pin. And then our president and our chancellor and people joined there so that the importance is cemented in their, students want to do it, but they also say, wow, you all came to this? You know, so I think that's really bonds us together. And it's one of our favorite things here is service work. And we'll hope to get back to our weeks. We usually go to 3 or 4 sites on alternative spring break throughout the country. So, and we go to El Salvador in January for 1 week. Yeah.
Great.
And we bond with another Dominican college in that it's Malloy. So it's Malloy and Dominican going to El Salvador. So service work I find really important. And even faculty and staff. We had a wonderful administrator who had a 5-year-old boy who 2 years ago, immediately on a Friday afternoon, the nurse called home and said, there's something wrong. And he had a brain tumor. That's how fast it came on. And he lived probably, it was April, he lived till September. Well, the whole place here, even Stack had a pediatric babies club, and they said, let's have a fundraiser for that little guy too. So we were not only Dominican, we were not only faculty and staff and alums, with even St. Thomas Aquinas College saying, hey, this is a heartbreak. This baby's 5 years old. So I find that very empowering and very consoling, and it just brings us together as one human family. We don't know what color, race, or creed, nor do we care. We just want to make a difference. So that I find very inspiring.
Thank you, Sister Barbara. Now we're going to shift the discussion topic. In Pope Francis's Fratelli Tutti, the Holy Father offers a detailed remedy against self-destruction, despair, and an openness to love, charity, and kindness, as well as a rejection of war, nuclear weapons, and the death penalty. For those of us who haven't read Fratelli Tutti, how would you describe it in 30 seconds or less? And what is one reason why people should consider reading it? Sister Barbara, let's start with you.
Okay, thank you, Jean. Well, I think I was impressed with the chapter 3 of the encyclical, and part of it was saying God, this is Pope Francis saying God is universal love. And as long as we're part of that love and share it, we are called to universal fraternity and openness to all. As Pope Francis said, there are really no others, no them, there's only us. We want, with God and in God, an open world, a world without barriers, without people being rejected. Now, we know we fall short of this all the time because we're human, but this is what our goal is. This is what we want to achieve. And the part that I love too, I think Thomas Aquinas mentioned it in the Pope Francis quoted Thomas Aquinas, and all of that is made possible, that universal love, because of the charity that God infuses in us. I love that. It's not all about Barbara or Carol or Jean. It's God has infused that charity, that kind of love. Then in that, if it is that God infuses charity, then our love for others make us freely desire to seek their good. So if that, one of the gospel readings, the students always like to pick for their baccalaureate mass is "You are the light of the world." And what they're thinking is, we've gotten our education, we've gotten so many blessings, now we have to be light. But my thought is, I love that, because we are the light of the world. Jesus didn't say you're going to earn it. He said you are. You are. It's just up to us to release it and use it. So why should we read this encyclical? That's what Sister Jean asked me. I think we often need to be reminded that charity which God infuses needs to flow out of every one of us to the people we meet, especially the very poor and needy.
Thank you, Sister Barbara. Sister Carol, let's hear your take on Fratelli Tutti.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jean, I could never describe it in 30 seconds or less. So
that's okay.
I've failed
whatever.
Right there. And the second part is, I started to read it and I said, whoa, this is beyond. And even though our Pope Francis has some truth, limited because he was educated by the Jesuits and not the Dominican sisters. He is a tremendously wise and holy man, and I very much respect him. In that piece, I believe he gives the world so much to be challenged by and so much to think about. I don't know if reading it in one reading is a possibility. I think the value would come if we took that, and each day that we say our prayers, to meditate on a certain piece of that and see, how it affects our life, and put our accent on it, put our qualities, our skills in play, and see how we can use his words to affect the people in our lives that we meet each day. That's my reading there.
That's great, and that's a way that many of us could digest this great work in a way that we could understand and work through. Thank you. Sister Carol, what steps do you think Catholics can take to promote a culture of peace and dialogue between each other?
I think there should be a third person involved in this, because you have to change your way of thinking, Jean, before the next question comes in. So, but I will try to answer that question as well as I can. Promoting a culture of peace, I believe that really is different for all of us, depending upon our skills, our talents, who we meet in our world, depending upon our families and where we were raised, depending upon our philosophies. But I think it comes down to taking a step outside of our comfort zone and mixing with people whose religion, whose economic status, employment, educational level, and opinion differs from ours. It's not a comfortable thing. It's not an easy thing to do. And many times I can look at something on TV and say, I don't agree with that person's opinion. How can he think like that? But I think probably what we have to do is learn how to listen, learn how to have courtesy, learn how to have mercy and show forgiveness for people who have offended us or our opinions in the past, and have patience and be non-judgmental and know that we ourselves are only a piece of the answer of the truth of the world. Everybody has their own piece of light. And mine is good. Mine and Barbara's together is better. Mine, Barbara's, and Jeanne's is better yet. And if we continue to try to put those pieces of the puzzle together, we learn more of the truth. And I think we learn how to respect each other better.
Thank you. What about you, Sister Barbara, about promoting the culture of peace and dialogue between each other?
I think I'm going to be saying a lot of what Carol said. I so agree with what she said. I think first and foremost, it requires, before the peace and dialogue requires respectful listening. And what is that? It is the process of listening attentively while someone else speaks, reflecting back what a person said, and withholding judgment and advice. When you practice active listening, you make the other person feel heard and valued. Agreement on the issue may not happen, but total respect for the person holding an opposite position, if that would be, will prevail. And I think that's a beginning. I think that has to come before there is some meeting of at least respecting each other and not saying, well, you're wrong and I'm right. I think of St. Dominic, as my Dominicans would well remember. When he was traveling with the bishop, he stopped in an inn in southern France, and he spent the entire night talking with the innkeeper, who was a believer of a dual religious cult that originated in the East. They say that was the whole night he was with him, that it was because of that night he realized that he wanted to do this more often. And it was then that he did begin to found the Order of Preachers, to preach the truth. And that means respectful listening. Join someone and say, tell me more about it. Maybe I'm wrong. So I think respectful listening is so, so important as groundwork. And that's what I feel about that.
That's great. Thank you. Wow. Our final question goes to Sister Barbara first. If you could share one message today with the world to inspire others to care for each other as a human family as we recover from the pandemic, what would it be?
My one word is hope. There's a poem by a Danish philosopher, Søren Kierkegaard. It's called The Moment, which he says the following: if I could wish for something, I would wish for neither wealth nor power, but for the passion of possibility. I would wish for an eye which eternally young, eternally burns with the longing to see possibility. So the passion for possibility brings forth dreams of what can be, a new day, a new vision, a new unity. So I think hope is so important, especially during these times of pandemic. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Get out there and just think, what else can we do? What can we give our life for today? This doesn't have to be a really big thing, but to keep hope alive. And I would just say, as a moment of maybe throwing out an inspiration, can we ask ourselves what our passion of possibility might be? And if you have it, can you hold it lovingly, let it stretch you and to new places and situations where the message of love and compassion needs to be heard. Let's go with the passion for possibilities. We can do it together.
Passion for possibilities. That's awesome. Sister Carol, what is your message today with the world to inspire others to care for each other now?
To inspire the world, that's an awesome thing, Jeanne, but I will try.
You can do it. I have complete faith in you.
Okay.
You're already doing it.
Oh, well, thanks. I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, to a line of mostly German immigrants with some Jewish background and blood in my veins. So what I will give you is and I will answer this question with the Orthodox Jewish description of the creation of the world. In the beginning, there was only holy darkness. We have a song in the Catholic Church about holy darkness. It was the source of life. And then in the course of history, at a moment in time, this world, the world of 1,000,000 things, emerged from the heart of holy darkness as a great ray of light. And then there was an accident, and the vessels containing the light of the world broke, and the wholeness of the world, the light of the world, was scattered into 1,000,000 fragments of light. They fell into all events and into all peoples, where they remain to this very day. The story continues that the whole human race and world is a response to this accident. We are here because we are born with the capacity to find that hidden light in all events and in all peoples. We are here to lift this light up and to make it visible to the world in which we live in. Once again, our purpose in finding this light is to restore the innate wholeness that was lost. This is a collective task involving all peoples, all who have ever been born, all of us alive today, and those yet to be born. We are, all of us, the healers of the world. Amen.
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 And
Beautiful.
wow. I mean, and thank you for sharing your light with us and with the world and helping so many other people be in touch and share their own light because of knowing you. Thank you for those inspiring words. We appreciate your time today. I'd like to also thank everyone at home for tuning in to today's Catholic Sisters Week discussion. All of us truly appreciate your support. Before we sign off, I'd like to encourage everyone to follow both congregations on our social media pages. It's the best way to keep up with what's going on with our sisters and associates. Also, I would like to wish all women religious a happy Catholic Sisters Week.
Yes.
Thank you again for tuning in today. We hope that you will think about how you will open your hearts to the world. God bless you.
God bless. God bless you.
Thank you. Take care.